me start recording this so I can put this up on YouTube as well. The SMV, or the red pill talk, the ways we used to do this all years ago, talking about all these SMV and sexual market value and hypergamy and all this stuff, that went on the wayside, right? That kind of fell off because the normies adopted different terms. So, but women don't talk about this stuff. Women don't really think about it because they have high value. They're desired, and men still want to sleep with them because they're pretty and they have boobs. And women do not understand how quickly they fall off a cliff. So I'm going to dive into SMV for just a couple minutes, just to touch on it again, because I haven't talked about it in a couple years. And because that directly relates to the stories I'm going to read following it. One of them by Trainwreck and dating coach Yana Hocking, and another one by a woman that went on USA Today, asking for USA Today to help her find a date for Valentine's Day. She's 37, she's single, she's highly desirable, yet can't find a man. Where are all the good men? So we'll talk about that, and then we'll jump into the TikTok ban. You guys, this is a long written article. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I want to touch on this because this is paramount to men's happiness. When I as a content creator, or just a guy or a friend, if I was going to be talking to a friend this way, or if I was going to explain this to anybody else in the world, I wouldn't probably use the words sexual market value, but it's attractiveness. What makes men attracted to women and women attracted to men? And men sleep down, and men will date down temporarily, and men will do things to get their peckers wet, if we're just going to be honest. Where women now they're adopting some of the same strategies, and they're sleeping with chads without caring about much else. But it's all fine and dandy, and women are in the highlights of their life. They're happy. Everything's going well for the younger women. And the younger guys are like, this sucks. Nobody wants me. I can't get a date. Why doesn't anybody pay attention to me? And guys can get really bummed out about this. And it's the X, right? Men's value increases, women's value falls off. And I can see my camera is messed up because it's over there. It's over there showing. We should not be seeing my hands over there. Guys, before we get too far into today's video, let me tell you about NMN supplements, or nicotinamide mononucleotide from Black Forest. It's a supplement that's known to dramatically improve health and longevity by serving as a precursor to NAD+. Dr. Andrew Huberman recently was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's a neuroscientist, a tenured professor at Stanford University's School of Medicine. He's going to explain what NMN is and how they're trying to take it away from us and patent it as a prescription drug because of its effectiveness.
We were talking, I think last time we spoke about supplementation as it relates to, metabolic pathways. And one thing I've been tracking pretty closely is this whole, the NMN thing has now taken a different direction. I was going to bring that up before we
wrap this up. So let's explain NMN for people. It's a precursor for NAD+.
Right. NAD is critical to energy production in all cells, vital. And levels of NAD tend to go down as we age. It's an absolute requirement for cellular health and life. You need it. Some years ago, as David Sinclair came on this podcast and discussed that his laboratory is a tenured professor of genetics, Harvard Medical School, and other laboratories are starting to explore stimulating the NAD pathway as a tool for extending lifespan. You can't just take NAD, or you can, but it doesn't get into cells very easily. There are basically two ways that you can tickle this pathway, increase NAD. One is to take NMN. NMN could soon be a prescription drug that you can only get with a prescription. And then I think Metro International Biotech will likely hold the patent. I will say with NMN, a couple of things happened. First of all, energy, my recovery from workouts much better. I had to take it early day because it was giving me a lot of energy. I did notice my hair and nails growing at a ridiculous rate. And then I came off it just as a control experiment, slowed down again. So it was really interesting. I think there's something there in cellular growth pathways.
Interesting.
Now, while I don't need my nails to grow any faster, I probably could use the hair growth portion of it. Anyway, I have my NMN. It does boost your energy. It does help you recover from post-workouts. It's part of maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So get it while you can before they try to patent it and make it a prescription drug only. I have an exclusive offer for you. If you go to my link in the description or pinned comment down below, then for the next 48 hours, you can buy two and get one free. Stock up while you can. It's, again, NMN, buy two, get one free, blackforestsupplements.com/bachelor. Grab yours, I grab mine. Get yourself feeling better, get more energy, and help your cellular repair keep you healthy. This is from a dating guy, and he's going to tell you how to increase your sexual marketplace. We're not going to read that, but he does hit it on the head. I'll put timestamps in if you want to jump over this. He says, what you bring to the table sexually matters. In fact, it's life-changing. What jobs you get, whom you end up with as a dating partner, the opportunities your children will have, or if you can have children. And SMV is your worth to other players in the marketplace. The higher your SMV or sexual market value, the more leverage you have in the game of dating. So if you're unattractive and you're young and you have no money and you have no experience and you're awkward, your market value is 0. If you're older, if you're funny, if you can talk well and you have a good job and you're funny and you're tall and dark and handsome and all the rest of this, you have a very high value. Rule number 1, the first thing we need to look at is gender. The way your SMV plays out vastly differs between men and women. For women, and this is the whole takeaway before we get into all these other stories. For women, the main factor is physical beauty, your figure, your curves, your facial symmetry, your hair, your skin, etc. Physical beauty is not the only factor, but it's about 80 to 90% of a woman's value in the beginnings of a relationship. Now, long term, you want her to be sweet, you want her to be nice and intelligent, and you get along with her, and she might be a good mother to your kids. That's long term. Men do not care about that in the beginning. So when you look at dating markets, when you look at the dating scenario we're in today, that's all there is the beginning. We never get to the long-term relationship. We never get to falling in love and having the kids and getting married and getting under the roof. We don't get there anymore because women are about the now, the in the moment, what makes me happy. And so they pick a man based on the moment. And so men only have to worry about the moment. So what does that boil the marketplace down to here in the tender age of 2025? Looks. That's all it is. Hot people smashing hot people. But also, the hot guys smashing mid to average girls because, hey, any port in a storm, so to speak, right? Well, this is where these women are going to get into a lot of trouble. And they are in a mating crisis and a dating crisis. They just don't know it yet. The reason why is they still have guys they think are attractive smashing them and taking them out to dinner and buying them things. And they're bragging how I have all this and the world is at my doorstep. So we're going to read down through this because Yana is admitting that they have the easy life and everything's going well and everything's perfect and they're all happy. But we know it's going to come to an end. They don't. Now, if you guys wonder why I use Yana Hocking as the poster child for this type of woman, she publishes it. She writes it. It's like reading a woman's journal, right? Of stupidity, basically, if I'm going to talk about it. So I always go back to Yana. I used to do Amy Horton. If you remember Amy Horton, we used to call her Amy Wharton because she'd start like, I love this man and he's my forever guy. And then in the next video it'd be like how I rang in my 40s with a threesome or something, or like a gangbang or something like that. And then the next thing she came out with is how I got genital warts and why it's no big deal. Like this woman was the best train wreck ever. And so many of us content creators made fun of her. She stopped writing stories. She just disappeared into the ether. And so we have to pick a new crazy person to follow, to watch them slowly over the years destroy themselves. And I have chosen Yana Hocking because she exemplifies everything we say that's wrong in women. And so she says the little known fact about female psychology that explains the mating crisis. And she's going to lay out exactly what all we red pill content creators talk about constantly. We've told you this for 5 years. Now the women have caught up. And they're like, yeah, it's actually what these guys have been saying. It's true. The difference is, though, we're winning. Not that we're losing. Not that we're actually failing. We're making fun of content creators like myself because we're actually winning. Spoiler alert, they're not. They just are. They have a high enough SMV or sexual market value that they're still getting attention. But it goes away when the looks go away and the wrinkles and the sags show up. But they're in the denial phase of their age. She just turned 40. That value is going to go away. It's just a matter of time. And for you young guys out there that are very much down on yourselves and you said, either you come to grips that you're not going to date or you hit the gym, you maybe, take care of your skin. There's lots of stuff out in the markets for your skin and anti-aging like the NMN and other things like that. You can do that and keep yourself young and healthy. Or you can just say, I'm going to move on. But we age better. Well, she says, fact, last year I remained mostly single. Well, shocking. Give or take a few situationships and a cheeky one-night stand, and so did most of my girlfriends. Now, remember, she just wrote an article this past summer that said why she's going to demand every man spend $2,000 on dates before she sleeps with him. That lasted approximately 18 minutes. And then it went right out the window and her mouth shut and her legs opened. So that didn't last very long. She said, and as I scratched my head and perhaps other places, I put that part in, and pondered who coupled among at least the 20 gorgeously single women in my social circle, there are only 2 girlfriends I know who had the let's make it official chat with the man of the moment in their lives. So these women, 20 of them, 18 of them decided to date a single man. They didn't tie the knot. They didn't get married. Out of the 20 gorgeous single women in her social circle that are all probably hovering around the age of 40, there's only 2 of them that decided this man is good enough that I'm actually going to stay long-term with him. The rest of the 18 women, what did they do? Smashing chads. They were going out and sleeping with men. And she admits it. I mean, she said as much in her most recent story. So here you've got 18 out of 20 women that are knocking on, hovering around, or recently past 40, and they're all single, living the good life. How long do you think that's going to last? They think it's going to last forever. They do have a bailout, but this is the irony, okay? This is the irony. All these women are getting smashed. Could they marry the men smashing them? No. Men date down. Now, if you go back to SMV, right? He talks about in here how men date down. Men sleep down. They just do. And so all these men in their minds are sleeping down with these women. They're dating down. To these women, they're smashing up. The 2 shall never become a long-term relationship. The men know this. But here's the spoiler alert. The women don't. They're set, and this is where we get alpha female or alpha widow from, right? They think they're going to make this, they're going to catch one of these guys and it's going to be on forever. That's why they're in crisis. They just don't know it yet. She said, the rest of us remained on the shelf. Yes, aging like eggs in the sun. As my horrifically old-fashioned great uncle likes to call it, but may I add, on the shelf willingly. Could I and my fellow women folk have shacked up with a bloke if we wanted to? Sure, but did we? No. Right. They're only interested in the moment because the men that would marry and date them, they don't want, but the men that will smash and take them out for dinner, they do want. And so they're forced. Women are literally forcing themselves to just go out and hook up because the men they really want will never settle with them. And all they can get is the smash. She said the guys who put themselves forward on the job were fine. They were sweet and they were perfectly capable, which means if Yana thinks she's an 8, these men were an 8. And they were perfectly capable. They were sweet. They were nice. They were good, but not good enough. She said, did we align in ways that would enhance our lives? Not really. Right. Hypergamy. The men that wanted them, they didn't want. They wanted the better men that'll only sleep with them. She says, you see, last year you couldn't escape one simple fact. Women were in a mating crisis, or so the experts kept calling it, and those viral clips flooding our social media feeds. Yes, the world was suddenly single and she says, looking mighty fine, might I add. The experts harped on about one simple truth. As women level up in education and their careers, they naturally look for partners who are equally smashing it or better. She said, but here's the catch. That shrinks the dating pool a lot, especially as more women are heading to university while fewer men do the same. She says, don't bite my head off, blokes. It's just simple facts. And she is correct about this. I've talked about this in many videos. The graduation rate for college and even upper echelon of college is about now 60% to 40% women to men. Maybe a little bit lower and higher for men, but it's around that percentage. So women are out earning upper degrees of men by 15 to 20%. Now, is that a failure? Yes. Is that bad for society? Yes, it is. Because the odds of you likely getting a female lawyer, a female doctor, and somebody else that had to go through university and graduated and got passed because they wrote their thesis on why, I don't know, the patriarchy is bad and women are great, those odds go up, especially as the colleges become more female. But here's the real truth of it, is that men are learning this and they're going into the blue-collar jobs that are starting to pay better because it's hard to get a plumber and a carpenter and a roofer, and trust me, you pay through the nose. How do I know? I'm just wrapping up on my house, and the house cost me 40% more than I thought it would, because to find good qualified help that's truly good is expensive as blazes, which is why I tell you guys, go into finished carpentry, go into plumbing, go into roofing, and you may not start with a lot of money, but you'll eventually get there, especially if you own your own business. And these women are walking out of college with huge debts, $100,000, $200,000 in debt. And they find out, hey, my degree didn't get me crap. So it's not really a win. That's all I'm saying. She says this means plenty of brilliant, independently women are flying solo, not because they can't find a date, but because finding someone who ticks all the boxes and doesn't get intimidated by their success, she has to throw in, is like searching for a Chanel bag at a garage sale. Sure, it could happen, but don't hold your breath. And honestly, can you blame them? Standards are the new sexy. So we said this would happen. You guys have heard me say it. Other men's content creators have said it. Women are now getting so high, since they won't date down, they won't date even, they require men to be better than them. Well, the more successful a woman comes, the smaller the dating pool. Not to sleep with, because they're all sleeping with the same guys. It's who to date and who to marry and who to fall in love with. And she says, hey, our standards are the new sexy. Sexy for you now. Sexy for you now. But what's going to happen in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, and your 80s, and maybe even into your 90s? The next 50 years are going to be spent alone. And these women are only looking at the short-term gains versus the long-term ramifications of their decisions. So now she agrees with us. She agrees with us, not only in what we've said by statistics, but by her own friends, that the women were calling it quits. The women thought they were going to be able to level up. The women thought they can get a better man. And so they discarded the men that cared for them. They threw away the men that just fit the bill because they think they can still do better. She says, meanwhile, over in the UK, women are smashing the careers game. Back in the 1970s, only 52% of women were in the workforce. Today, that number has hit 72%. With those paychecks rolling in, no wonder women are ditching the happily ever after myth for a happily independent reality. But you're not independent. Do you know who's independent? My mom was independent. Do you know why? Because my dad went off to work. Yes, she got up and she fed us kids cereal, or maybe cooked a pancake and bacon and eggs breakfast on the weekend. And then my dad went off to work. My mom did a little bit of laundry. And then she kind of chilled all day. She had family friends that she hung out with. She watched soap operas. She read books. I know this because I saw my mom doing it. And then she'd get dinner ready that night. She literally had all day to do nothing but whatever she wanted to. And as a matter of fact, once we kids hit 13, 14, 15, she got a job because she was bored. And she said, hey, we'll bring in extra income and we'll be able to retire a little bit early. So my mom had the easy life. You know who doesn't? The woman that has the $400,000 mortgage and the $100,000 car and the $200,000 of college loans, she has no independence. Yes, you can go sleep with whoever you want. Yeah, you can go party and do whatever you want, but you are a wage slave. And if you lose your job, you're absolutely fucked. But these women don't think that way. They think, oh, I'm independent. Independent from what? Independent from a man. But you're not independent from your debt. You're not independent from your job. That's going to hang over you like a guillotine for the next 30 years. But women only think in the moment. They don't think down the road. Where the same young guy that's crashing out with his friends, that doesn't have the college debt, that drives an older pickup truck maybe until he can pay cash for it, that guy, if he loses his job, he's like, well, hey, mates, can you cover me for a month or so while I look for a new job? And those friends who've been saving their money will say, we got your back, bro. And you can pay us back when you start working. And then he finds another blue-collar job. He can start paying them back. Should only take a month or so. And then he's living the easy life, working with guys he likes, hanging out with guys he likes, living the easy life. So I'm sorry, you're not independent. The difference is you used to be tied to a man and a family and children that loved you. But instead, now you're tied to a boss that hates you, a career that no one cares about, that you could get fired at any moment in time during a downturn in the economy. Wait until you hear the screaming in the next few years, because the economy is still going to crash. Trump may slow things down. He may soften the blow. It's still going to crash. It happens every so often. We're overdue for another one. And when that happens and all these women all of a sudden realize they're getting laid off because they work for a DEI HR department, they're going to be freaking out. Then we'll see who's really screaming and crying at that point in time. She goes on to say, and the pièce de résistance. Women are now more educated than before. More women than men are earning college degrees. Doesn't matter. Giving them the upper hand in everything from paychecks to power plays. No. She says, who needs a knight in shining armor when you've got a master's degree and a killer 401k? We'll see how that turns out for you. We will. Because the college degree does not get you anywhere anymore because they're worthless. Because colleges are teaching bullshit, basically. Now you just have debt. She says, and let's not forget, people are waiting longer to tie the knot, if they tie it at all. The median age for the first marriage is now 30 for men, 28 for women. We're no longer rushing to say I do just because society says we should. Nope, we're busy living a life on our own terms. I have no problems with that. I have no problems with that. And I'm the first one to say, hey, I think that's fine, actually. But society hasn't said you should rush out and get married for a long time. We've been in the feminist era for 10 years, 20 years. Women have been rushing out there saying, don't get married. There's no rush to do it. So let's maybe pretend and stop pretending that society says go out and get married and have kids. You're thinking like the 1950s. We haven't done that for a long time. So stop pretending that you're bucking the system. You're part of the norm. You're not pushing rage against the machine. You are the machine. You're falling in line with every feminist trope that's been spit out for the last 15 years. Run away from men, run away from family, go be a strong, independent woman. You're not new. You're boring. You're doing the same thing everybody else is. You just don't know it yet, but you're going to be crushed by the same system. She says one man's mating crisis is another woman's fist pump for freedom. Huzzah! You're free now. You're free now, except you're a wage slave. And then what happens? And this is the part, I'm gonna put this right on my big old fat face. This is the part they never understand. Memorize this, gentlemen. This will be your pièce de résistance, as she says. These women are going to run out of men. They're going to run out of the sexual market value they have. Then it's men don't want to sleep with me. Men don't want to date me. I have a house, but it's empty and there's no one here to share it with. I have this crushing debt I still haven't paid off. I'm not going to be able to retire till I'm 65, and I hope I can pay off all my debt by then. Where's all the good men? Where are the men that are going to save me from my choices? Where are the men that are going to save me from this life? She doesn't feel it yet. Many of these women don't feel it yet, but they will. Because if we go back from story after story after story that I've read on this channel, and you've heard on all the other men's channels, the women get into their 40s and 50s, and the weight comes on, and the looks go away, and you can be Sharon Stone, who's single, and you can be Terry Hatcher, who's single, and you can be who's one of the other ones I did. I forget all the ones I did. You can be these Hollywood actresses that could have had probably any man on the planet, and these women that are still worth millions of dollars in their 50s and 60s say, where are the men? Now, if actresses that were desired by millions of men all around the world aged into their 50s and 60s, and they're still strong, empowered females, and they're still intelligent because they probably got degrees, and they're worth millions of dollars, and they have these beautiful mansions in Hollywood. If they can't find a man because now they're wrinkly and saggy and old, do you think you're going to be able to find a man once you hit in your 50s? It's going to happen, and we're going to call you out on it. We're going to make fun of it, and because that's just what we're going to do. And I have a feeling Yana will give up on writing before she hits that point. I think she'll hit near the end rope. She'll finally settle for a man. She'll be off the market. They have no other choices. They just don't know it yet. So good luck. Cheer it on. Go ahead. She said, remember when being single past a certain age made you the social equivalent of unclaimed baggage at the airport, ignored, pitied, judged. I mean, they made a whole Bridget Jones franchise out of it. Oh, how times have changed. She said, over the past year or so, the narrative has flipped. Single women are no longer society's leftovers. They're its secret sauce. How do I know? I'm a living, breathing, and perfectly functioning example of this new plot twist. My darling Yana, you're 40. You've aged well. You've taken care of yourself. You're still relatively perky. You don't have too many crow's feet and wrinkles just yet. So you still have your sexual market value. So yes, it's easy to talk from a place of privilege and power. And yes, you're sleeping with powerful, attractive men because you're better than their hand and some lotion. You're entertaining. Look at this, right? This is from a girl, Dairy Not Dairy. She says, after 21 years married, I've asked my husband for a divorce. I feel happily excited about my new chapter. Now, this Elsa down below her says, well, let me just say you'll be extremely lucky if a new chapter is waiting for you. I've been divorced for 20 years. I haven't found anybody yet. Biggest mistake I ever made. I've read this before. I've read the Reddit stories where women say, oh, I slept around and the only men want to sleep with me. I can't find a man to love me. I can't find a man to be my forever man. They just all want to sleep with me. And the guys that do want to marry me and date me, I don't like them. They're not up to my standards. Here's another story. I'm 37 and single, so I persuaded USA Today to find me a date for Valentine's Day. Why does she need the help of USA Today to find her a date for Valentine's Day? She's not unattractive. She's actually pretty. Why? Because she can't meet the man that is up to her values to date, only to sleep with. I'm going to full screen this.
Inspired by Sleepless in Seattle, I'm going to do something similar with USA Today. Calling through the country to find a fantastic date for Valentine's Day. I have been on the apps. I have asked friends, hey, do you know anyone that you can maybe set me up with? So just to share a little bit about what I'm looking for in a partner, I want someone who just wants to go on adventures, honestly, who is down to say yes, who will not be shy about joining me for a duet in the car.
Listen to what she's talking about here. And I know you, just play the video. If you want to go watch the internet without my fat face on here, if you just want to hear this stuff without commentary. Tired of hearing that. I talk over it, deal with it. She says, I've tried the apps. I've tried asking my friends, where can I go? Why aren't the apps, she's a beautiful woman. She really is. You know, I'm not going to hate on her. Let me zoom this in a little bit for you for a second. She's a beautiful woman. I think there's a lot of guys that be like, she's kind of a smoke show. 37, okay, I'm 45, I'm 48, I'm 50. I'd date younger women like this. Why? Why is she struggling? She can't find the forever man. She's been on the apes. She might have been riding some apes, I don't know. She's been on the apps. She's been on the dates. She's asked friends. It's because the men that she wants to sleep with will only sleep with her. The men she wants to date and marry have nothing to do with her.
I have asked friends, hey, do you know anyone that you can maybe set me up with? So just to share a little bit about what I'm looking for in a partner, I want someone who just wants to go on adventures, honestly, who is down to say yes, who will not be shy about joining me for a duet in the car. Faith is a big, important part of my life. I'm looking for someone who wants to go to church on Sundays. I'm also blessed and obsessed with my family. I love working out. I love being active. That's important to me. I also like going to concerts and singing really loudly and taking fuzzy videos and still sharing them on social media. I know, and it's hard to find a partner. Baby girl has been there. She's 37. She's single. She's dated. She's had her heart broken.
And then she says, she's not found the one. She's not found the one. So baby girl's dated, she's been there, she's slept around, she's sleeping. If she's dating and she's out there in the dating market, let's not pretend like, she's got her V card. She's never been, let's not even pretend. So she wants a Christian man, but that man's going to care about body count. That guy's going to care about what have you been doing with your life? And she says, I've had my heart broken. Why? How did you get your heart broken? Why weren't they the forever man? Because they were just sleeping with her. They were Chads dating down, sleeping with her. We show video after video after video, and these women just don't get it. And she wants somebody to be on social media with her. Like, I guess a guy that's going to be on, she wants a 10 that's going to be doing social media with her. Why? To validate that she's a beautiful, important woman and she scored a perfect man. It's not going to happen.
She's not found the right one. I get it. But as challenging as dating is, getting your hopes up, being excited, trying not to be negative. I think the braver choice, the one that's going to lead to more success, is saying there's somebody fantastic out there for me that I'm gonna meet soon. So if you think you're this Mr. Wonderful that I've been describing, and fingers crossed that you are, we're gonna have links below or in the bio. Find a little form, fill out a couple questions, attach a photo, and then upload a video, which can be a short little video as awkward as this, so we can just get a feel for who you are. If you want to talk about this, use the hashtag USA to Date. I'm just so excited to meet you. I think this could be such a fun opportunity.
This woman is so desperate. She's gone to USA Today, and now she wants you to fill out an application, not just an app, provide a photo, not just a photo, provide a video. She's attractive. Why? Because none of the men meet her criteria for long-term dating. The long-term guys don't meet her criteria. The guys that do meet her criteria, they bang the shit out of her for a month or two, and they bounce and break her heart. This isn't going to change. She's 37 now. Where do you think she's going to be at 40 or 40? Alpha widows. So for Yana, at least we'll wrap this portion of this up. For Yana, apparently I was reading, this goes back to 2010, promiscuity and infidelity could be a genetic trait in some humans. It's called the DRD4 gene. I didn't know about this. I heard somebody talking about this the other day. But they say something of everybody that has like a high body count, something like 50 to 60% of those had this gene, and people that did not have the gene, only 22% of them were a little bit more promiscuous. Well, Yana, I challenge you. The kit is $149. Yana, I will buy you a kit. I will send it to you, and I will cover the cost of you, whatever you have to do to write the story that has your results of the promiscuity gene test. I think this is a test maybe you want to start giving out to girlfriends. I'm just saying. I would pay for this test for you, Yana. I would pay for you, and I will pay you to write the article with your results, positive or negative, but I need to see you opening that kit on video. You can't doctor it. I would pay for the kit. I would pay for the cost. Whatever they pay you normally to write an article for your dingbat stories for USA Today, I will write that check. I will pay you to write the article with your results for this, for the DRD4. Do it. I'd pay for it because I'll do a video and I'll probably make as much on the video as it would cost me to pay you because you only have like 13 followers. Do it. Just do it. I'm challenging you. Let's find out if it's your upbringing or your genetics or both that cause you to be a perpetual alpha widow. Lastly, I'll leave it with a dating profile of the day. This is from Brittany, 27 years old. The farthest you need to make it down the dating profile is the very next line. She, they. That's it. We're done here. Even if you get to the she, her, if somebody puts she, her in a bio, you're out. Just don't. If they put pronouns, just don't waste your time. But she's Brittany. She's 27. She's a she, they. So you're done. She's a service advisor at Nissan. Good luck to Nissan. Now she says, be a responsible man and get a vasectomy. So I guess so she doesn't have to baby delete because God forbid she uses birth control. Now here's the thing. If she was wrapping it up, you wouldn't even need the vasectomy if she's wrapping it up. So apparently she raw dogs it with her dates, especially if they have a vasectomy, I guess. I don't know. Plus sized. Well, we know what that means.
Was she a great big fat person?
She's bi. She's bi, so we know what that means.
Emotional damage.
She's vaccinated. Let's see. Do I have one for that one? I don't know if I... Oh, yeah, I do.
Come on, man.
She says, I support Ukraine and Palestine.
Everything woke turns to shit.
She's a socialist.
Everything...
I played it for the wrong one. She's a socialist. Black and Indigenous lives matter. No human is an illegal immigrant. Oh boy, she's got all the leftist talking point. She's got all the lefty talking points in this one. Is anybody still interested? Is anybody still left? Not religious. Well, shocking. Shocking. Really? I'm surprised. She's an SA survivor. Okay. Probably going to be the breadwinner. Oh boy. Oh boy. The man that's going to date her is going to weigh 97 pounds. And every time he goes to put a scarf over his head before walking outside in the wintertime, his arms will be shaking from the weight of the 14-ounce scarf. It is so heavy. That's how skinny and effeminate this guy is going to be. This man will sleep with her and he'll cry afterwards, not only because of the experience, not only out of fear that she might roll over on him afterwards, but the fact that he's so in love and she's so powerful a woman that he's shaking and crying just to be in the presence of a goddess like this. That's the kind of man she's going to get. This man breaks his fingers trying to crumble crackers to put into soup. That's how powerful a man this woman is going to earn. And in the meantime, she's going to demand that she also has a bull as her other lover because she's afraid he's going to break his hips at the moment of penetrating her. So she's going to need a real man who she hates his politics. She hates him as a human being because he's slightly conservative and he can lift more than a pad of paper over his head without breaking his femurs. She's going to need to have a man like that she actually has sex with and hopes to impregnate her because, God forbid, the puny little man, she wouldn't want his genetics in 100,000 years.